Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Welcome to Our News and thank you for joining us. I'm Kyle Joaquin. Top in news tonight, testing has begun for all cabinet ministers today after Environment and Housing Minister Omar Ferreira tested positive for COVID-19. In a statement today, Cabinet said Ferreira is not experiencing symptoms at this time and is in quarantine. Our News understands cabinet ministers were tested today and have been advised to quarantine. The Churchill building, which houses the cabinet office, was closed for cleaning and sanitation and scheduled to be reopened tomorrow. According to the statement, contact tracing is being carried out by the Ministry of Health Surveillance Unit and all established health protocols are being followed. Well, a woman is mourning the shooting deaths of her husband and 4-year-old son on Eleuthera. The incident unfolded on Saturday and also involved the woman's 2 other infant children being kidnapped. Jared Higgs spoke to her and has her story.
We came on the island for a better life. A better life. I never thought something like this would happen.
32-year-old Antonia Green identified her husband as 35-year-old Jamara Green and her son as 4-year-old Jeremy Green. The man and child were gunned down in Roxtown, Eleuthera on Saturday. Green recalled the horrific final moments with her son.
He said, "Mommy, with the eye open, Mommy, get the doctor, get the doctor." And I go to lift him up and I see he started like to cry. So I said, okay. I said, "Mommy, gonna rest you back down and Mommy gonna get the doctor." He said, "Yes, get the doctor." I said, "Mommy, coming right back." And he said, "Okay."
After the man and his son were shot, police were alerted that a vehicle and 2 infants were missing, but the children were found unharmed. A distraught Green says her son was shot in the thigh and bled out. He was meant to start virtual school at Greencastle Primary School on Monday and wanted to be a police officer when he grew up.
Humble, sweet baby. He always, only one thing he wanted to do is just watch cartoon and go online. Watch Paw Patrol, Peppa Pig.
Green described her husband as sweet, kind, caring, and humble. She says they met as teenagers and have been together ever since. Married in 2007, they had 4 children. But Green had legal issues in the past that the couple were trying to get away from.
The area we was living in was no good area. I told him I'm ready to go. I'm tired. And he said, "Baby, whatever you say, I'm with you."
But now the woman is left to raise her 3 kids, including 2 infants, on her own. Her 4-year-old son's death marked the 3rd child to be killed by gun violence in less than 2 weeks.
I cry out to the little boy and the girl who they shoot. Didn't know it was coming to my doorstep.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Well, Bahamas Department of Corrections Commissioner Charles Murphy has tested positive for COVID-19. National Security Minister Marvin Dames revealed that Murphy tested positive this morning. There have been 23 confirmed cases among prison officers, 2 inmates, 4 recruits, and 2 civilian staff.
Who unfortunately was contact traced last week on a matter not related to the prison. And he immediately went to get tested and got his results back today. I spoke to him. He is positive, unfortunately, but asymptomatic. He is in good spirits.
Meanwhile, 50 inmates at the Bahamas Department of Corrections could be released from prison earlier than anticipated. Dames revealed today that the Prerogative Board of Mercy Committee has been in the process of reviewing the files of those who are considered to be high risk for contracting the virus.
That would include the elderly, comorbidity, persons who have completed more than half of their sentences with good behavior, and persons sentenced for minor and non-violent offenses that don't compromise public safety.
In other news, the first day of school got off to a rocky start today for some parents who say they still have concerns about virtual learning. Meanwhile, the Bahamas Unit of Teachers is up in arms over face-to-face orientation that was held today. The union president charging that there seems to be a disconnect between education officials. Berthany McDermott has more.
As education officials tout the virtual platform at the start of the new school year, some parents are concerned. Pedro Smith says virtual schooling will be difficult for her as a single unemployed mother.
My kid's dad just died. I'm unemployed. I can't buy 3 laptops. It ain't work. I can't. I gotta buy grocery and this other stuff. That don't make no sense. I'd rather them go back to school and wear their masks.
Aisha Brown has 3 children in the public education system. As everyone learns differently, she says she hopes the virtual learning platform is effective.
Students that do not have access to internet, that do not have electricity, How are they going to be able to respond to the lessons when some students don't all learn the same way?
In preparation for virtual learning, schools across the capital held a face-to-face national orientation for all students. This did not sit well with Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson, who said they found out about the national orientation through the media.
For months, it has been said that public schools will open 100% virtually. So why at the 9th hour are we being told that orientation will be face-to-face? The registration was supposedly completed on the Ministry of Education portal online. There is definitely a disconnect between the utterances of the Minister of Education and the action of the Director of Education.
Now, one of those schools holding face-to-face orientation today was Government High School. The school's principal telling us that they have seen an increase in enrollment this semester, going from 650 students to 850 students. Additionally, she says in this era of COVID-19, the safety of all teachers and students is most important.
In the classroom, you will see the 6 feet distancing. Every classroom has hand sanitizers in them. Students are all wearing masks. Now, because of the economy, and we realize that many parents have lost jobs, we're not pushing the uniform right now.
WIM says the school will implement staggered lunch and break times as well as curbside lunch for students. Despite efforts to keep students safe, Wilson feels more can be done, like getting teachers and students tested for COVID-19.
We are requesting that testing be done for teachers and students, as the schools can become a breeding ground for a COVID-19 outbreak.
We reached out to Education Director Marcellus Taylor, who said it's too early to speak on how the first day of virtual school went today. As for the union's concerns, Taylor said he will not respond in a public setting. Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, schools on Grand Bahama opened for face-to-face instruction today. While safety was a concern overall, many said they were just excited that things were starting to get back to normal. Jillian Gray has that.
From temperature checks to wearing a mask or shield, the first day of school for Grand Bahama students was far from the norm. Nonetheless, parents and students say they're excited for the new school year.
Good morning. How you doing?
Morning.
Okay, we have drop-off point there and across the road.
Okay.
One by one, students filed into school, some escorted by their parents. This was the first time some students stepped foot on a campus since Dorian ravaged Grand Bahama last September. Coming back to school under COVID-19 conditions was not easy, though, as the pandemic had some parents concerned for their children's safety.
The pandemic is still active in our city and our island, and I feel that the school has put in the necessary safety concern for what I'm saying. Everybody wearing their masks. They're doing the best of social distancing, so I hope they maintain it.
Pastor Tyrone Thomas, the guardian of a 10th grader, said despite the circumstances, he's just excited that the school year has finally started.
It's been a long summer, as you know, from Dorian, then COVID. I feel that the children need to be back in school, and so this is an exciting time.
Area Vice President for the Bahamas Union of Teachers, Quinton LaRota, said they've worked tirelessly with officials to ensure that the correct protocols are in place. Teachers with comorbidities will be teaching remotely, and some schools will adopt a hybrid model instead of strictly face-to-face.
The larger schools, like say St. George's and Sister Mary Patricia, they have large student population, so they have to do a hybrid where they have groups of students come in on different days, because the space does not allow for everyone to be there at once.
LaRota said teachers who instruct special needs kids will be donning gowns, gloves, masks, and shields to deal with those students. And things will look different on campuses across the island, especially during lunch and break time.
When the kids go out for break and lunch, and they've staggered them, so you don't have the amount of kids out at the same time.
At the end of the day, health officials will be evaluating the protocols to see what worked and what didn't. The Royal Bahamas Police Force also partnered with schools to enforce safety protocols.
We're also giving out pamphlets, flyers, making sure that the students are wearing their face masks and they're aware that they should always sanitize or wash their hands and to stay a certain distance away from each other. In doing that, we're assisting in making sure that we all make it through this pandemic.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jillian Gray.
More news on the way, but here's a first look at weather with meteorologist Greg Thompson. Good night, Greg.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm meteorologist Greg Thompson with your first look at weather, brought to you by CG Atlantic, where people come first. Warm day around the islands, temperatures getting up into the 90s once again, but we are now into the mid-80s, 84 under mostly fair skies. East-southeast winds at 8 knots feels like temperature around 84 degrees Fahrenheit. On our satellite, nothing much to talk about. High pressure in charge, southeasterly winds bringing just some quick passing showers across the area. We have two systems out there. We'll talk about that later in your extended forecast. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, why a Grand Bahama woman who went viral was back in court today. Plus, the labor director in talks with hotel execs. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
After slapping an Our News camera while coming out of court, 39-year-old Wendy Fox found herself before a magistrate again today, this time charged with one count of disorderly behavior and one count of obscene language. Last week, the Grand Bahama woman and another woman appeared before a magistrate on 3 fraud-related charges. As Fox exited the court, escorted by an officer, she lunged and slapped the camera while shouting obscenities. While Fox pleaded guilty to the charges of disorderly behavior and obscene language before Deputy Chief Magistrate Debbie Ferguson, she was fined $175 or will serve 3 months at the Bahamas Department of Corrections. While Acting Labor Director John Pinder is commending the Minister administration's decision to scrap quarantine for travelers. He says while it's a vital step to relaunch the tourism industry this month, he doesn't believe the industry will pick up until at least next spring. Here's Jasmine Brown.
Pinder says the fact of the matter is, despite the relaxed restrictions for visitors, he believes things will not get better anytime soon for the hotel industry.
By spring of next year. I believe that's a more realistic time now.
Pinder says he bases his timeline on the frequent conversations he has with management of major hotels during the pandemic. Pinder, who says the unemployment rate is still hovering above 40% as the global COVID-19 pandemic rages on, insists the economic rebound depends heavily on a successful relaunch of the tourism product on October 15th. He insists the recent decision to change travel restrictions is a step in the right direction.
There's a lot of work being done to cause the tourism product to get back to where it used to be, to get tourists coming. I'm so glad that the government came up with an easier way for people to have this vacation in place, in terms of them now being able to be tested twice in 5 days, and that in itself is some relief for persons, because nobody wants to come to no place and be quarantined for 14 days.
As of November 1st, individuals traveling to the Bahamas will be tested for COVID-19 upon arrival and 4 days thereafter. The quarantine will no longer be required upon arrival. However, they will still be required to have a COVID-19 negative test before arrival in the country. The announcement came ahead of the October 15th reopening of the Bahamas tourism industry. As it relates to the fate of workers in the tourism industry, Pinder says he has been in heavy discussions with hotel executives about the way forward.
I have asked some of the major properties to consider giving people voluntary packages. They don't have nothing to making at this time. They're not even thinking about that. And simply because they're of the view that if we get full house booking and we go let all these people go, then you get start to look for people to rehire people again. And so they're of the view that they're going to try to ride this out as best they can, hoping that the employees will understand this is in their best interest to some extent, from where I sit, because you're not losing your benefits in terms of when you go back to work. You don't lose your seniority, and you don't lose your positions. You don't have to reapply for a job all over again.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Still to come, why the labor director says so many Bahamians are having a hard time finding work. Stay tuned.
This is a huge deal. NFL Sunday Ticket is back, only with Rev Trio. All day football, all day Sunday. Enjoy all the benefits of Trio with a huge extra. Never miss a game with NFL Sunday Ticket, included in your Rev Trio bundle. All you have to do is opt in. TV, phone, and internet starting at just $99. Call 601-8992 to sign up now. Visit www.rev.bs/promotions for details.
Though thousands of Bahamians are out of work due to the COVID-19 pandemic, they are still shying away from low-wage, labor-intensive jobs, according to Acting Labor Director John Pinder, who says employers are finding it increasingly difficult to fill certain vacancies.
Even though these are hard times, I'm telling you, I still get hundreds of requests every week for laborers, farm laborers, handymen. The jobs that they advertise, they pay like between $210 up to about $300 a week. It ain't all that you want. But I wish I can get some Bahamians to take these opportunities right now, make that little $300 a week, maybe $350 a week.
Pinder says at the end of the day, any job that provides a stable income is better than nothing.
We don't want no kind of job, but we got to swallow our pride at this time and take whatever you can get. Whatever job you can get, keep food on the table and keep the light on and, keep yourself going at this time. I'd advise you to take those jobs. There's several requests coming in for handymen.
With the support of the Grand Bahama Port Authority, Genesis Academy will restart in-person lessons at the facility in late November. The program is tailored to assist troubled teens who are trying to refocus on their education and obtain their high school diplomas in Grand Bahama. Genesis helps mainstream students who are recovering from substance abuse, criminal rehabilitation, and other needs not applicable to regular classroom. Flooding during Hurricane Dorian destroyed most of the school's interior. The roof and students' agriculture and aquaponics systems were also significantly impacted. With the work of the GBPA's reconstruction team and G&T Construction, the building refurbishment is almost complete and awaiting final inspection. Still to come, what's happening in sports. And later on, a check on local markets in the Royal Fidelity Market Watch. Stay tuned.
Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight.
COVID-19 remains a serious threat.
Coronavirus COVID-19 has disrupted our economy, tourism industry, educational system, and put our healthcare facilities and professionals on high alert. Are you prepared? Do you have all the facts? Stay tuned to this network for the very latest news and information on this global pandemic.
In sports, the Miami Heat with a big win and the latest from the NFL. Marcellus Hall reports.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed our first edition of the Locker Room, which came your way last Friday. If not, be sure to tune in this coming Friday at 6:30 right here on our TV. Moving right along, NBA Finals action continuing last night and lots of NFL football. Let's get you all caught up. NBA Finals Game 3 last night saw signs of life from the injury-riddled Miami Heat as they wrote a 40-point triple-double performance from Jimmy Butler. They take down the LA Lakers 115-104. Heat defense and foul trouble holding Lakers star Anthony Davis to just 15 points in the ballgame. LeBron James did have 25 points, 10 rebounds, and a loss. Game 4 set for tomorrow night. Full slate of games in the NFL yesterday, taking a look at your winners and losers. Ravens over Washington. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, they topped the Dolphins. Vikings over the Texans. Saints, they beat the Lions. Browns taking down the Cowboys. Bengals over the Jaguars. Colts, they toppled the Bears. Panthers over the Cardinals there. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers hold off the Chargers. In the early games at 4 o'clock, the Rams over the Giants. The Bills took down the Raiders. And late game of the night, Eagles got by the 49ers 25-20. Tonight, a Monday Night Football doubleheader as the Chiefs take on the Patriots in a rescheduled contest. Green Bay, meanwhile, the Packers, they square off against the Atlanta Falcons. And we'll give you full details from tonight's action coming your way right here on our TV tomorrow. Reporting for Our News, I'm Marcellus Hall. It's now time for tonight's Financial Market Minute, brought to you by Royal Fidelity, your local investment bank.
This has been your Financial Market Minute. To explore the best performing mutual funds in the Bahamas, visit our website at www.rfgroup.com.
Well, thank you for joining us for Our News tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Kyle Joaquin. Remember, you can catch Our News on the go, the RefGo Play app. Have a good Monday evening, Bahamas.